Welcome to the Prompt Commander AI podcast with Tim and Allan, where AI meets reality.
Hello and welcome to the Prompt Commander podcast. We are here very excited. I'm Allan Dubon and I'm here with my co-host Tim. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing awesome, Allan. It's always great to join you.
Man, we've been up to some exciting stuff. We just got out of a really, really cool company earlier today. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, we can. That was a way cool place. Yeah, we have been up a lot. It's been cool to see the progress we made with just a few episodes out there. So we encourage people to continue to share it out there. We've loved the great responses that we've received and been played all over the world now. It's kind of cool just from a few short. It shows how hot a topic this is. But yeah, we were at a really cool company today that did some really cool. They're putting the umph back into and the pizzazz back into swag. But yeah, it's really cool stuff that they can do right there. Man, if you need event stuff down, this is the place. It's called Drip Swag, and it was fun hanging out there with their people, seeing how all their cool stuff works. Yeah, man, Danny rocked it.
So
he's the most laid back salesperson I've ever met.
So yeah, I mean, today we're just going to talk a little bit about the few things that we've seen, a few advances, things like that. And I wanted to talk to you about that video that you sent me. It was talking about those guys, the CEOs, and how they're competing with each other.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out of that was, I like this question: what would you tell a 20-year-old, do? And there was a difference of opinion. The first guy said, "Don't code. The next coding will be in English." And then the other two said, still learn to code if that's kind of your jam, because it'll be necessary. But if you think you're going to make all the money in the world by coding, that's not going to be the case here soon. If coding is your passion and doing that kind of stuff, do it, because the coders are needed. But it won't be as lucrative as it was in the past. So what do you think about that?
I fall in line with the second guy there. If you want to learn coding, I think that's a great thing to learn, right? I guess I'm a hybrid in between those two. I think it's still going to be a necessary thing to learn. I'm not a coder. So
Right.
I'm the last person you want me to jump in code. That doesn't make sense to me, but I still think people are going to have to understand that, especially I think for the next, probably 10 years before AI really advances. And I think that's what people need to learn the most. Even though this is in its infancy, we still need to learn about it and get ahead of it. And I think those people who are understanding it now are going to be the leaders of this just in a short time frame. But so if you want to learn that, but what I love about AI the most is now that someone like myself that doesn't know coding can go in and respond and interact with a computer, per se, artificial intelligence, and get what I need out of that. I was just using deep research to research some stuff. I wanted to know, I was kind of experimenting, but knowing how this all was going to impact city governments. And how can we potentially use this in a way to enhance services, maybe cut costs? Tools like this, I mean, before you were spending a lot of time just going to different sites. Maybe the site didn't work. Maybe it's outdated information. Now, even though I still have to validate things, it's still giving me the information I need a lot quicker than myself doing it.
Right. And that's the beauty of it, right? Is it's starting to reduce some costs, but allowing you to, we were just talking to somebody about this, where we're not here to try to take away the jobs, but let's put people in the right places and in the most cost-effective way, right? Let's redirect instead of having to do the really simple stuff. And just because it takes time, we got to pay all these for that.
It's like our conversation earlier that we were having. Like, I can use this to, I don't want it to replace a job on my team, but maybe I can have it replace functions and put that person in a better spot to enhance my company, my nonprofit, or, even just, something that you're working on, a project, education. can this replace certain functions of a teacher that I can put that teacher in a better spot to educate young people more or
Mhm.
older people more? We all need to be educated. And I think that is going to be a bigger asset than most things.
100%, man. And, looking at even what we've seen in this past year, like leaps and bounds of change, and it's just getting faster in its change. And so, that does scare some folks, and I definitely understand, right? But like Tim and I just gave a presentation to a group of realtors. Shout out to those guys; they were awesome. Um, but when we were talking to them, it was about standing out. And, the argument we hear a lot is, well, I didn't grow up with computers. I didn't grow up with social media. I didn't grow up with, well, now we're at a level playing field. Nobody has grown up with AI. So we all need to step in to some degree. You don't have to be as crazy about it as we are, but to some degree, so you understand what's going on and you don't get left out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Get going with this. I know it's getting to be cliche, but if you at least don't have ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or anything like that downloaded to your phone yet, you're tremendously behind the curve on this. I wish, and I wrote an article on LinkedIn about this and have a kind of another follow-up article that I'll be pushing out today, but we need to leave the old school ways behind. We need to adopt new ways, especially if I'm a disruptor. I'm always trying to find new ways to do things, more efficient ways to do things, and don't mind crashing out there and getting it done. But if we don't start, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. And I compare it a lot to the Industrial Revolution, but I want my youth, everyone, to be able to bring this on and utilize it, because if you don't, you're the one that's going to be left behind. And I hate to say it this way, though, but that's your fault. If you don't want to learn this, look at everything out there. And, I had a grandma that didn't want to learn how to use a debit card, right? When checks kind of were going away.
Yeah.
And we've always had to adopt new ways of doing things when new technology comes our way. Some people are slower to come on board with this, but with this, I think you need to come on board faster than you have with anything else.
100%, man. And this is where you can start to grow your career even more. So, as a lot of you know, part of what I do is I consult large medical device companies and I help them sell and look at different processes. And one of the cool things about it is being able to use this. And some of them have locked down safe chatbot kind of things for themselves, others don't. And so, if you want to keep things private, I think we hinted this a little bit with a previous guest, but talking about make it a case study, right? So instead of saying, "Oh, I'm selling, medical equipment or testing equipment to, Mercy Hospital," it's now I'm selling this bicycle to, downtown bikes, and this is what I need to do, and so you're keeping it pretty clean, and then pull out the information that you need from there, right? This will step up your game, allow you to be able to manage a lot more data and be a better salesperson, right? So every industry can use this, so it's not just for us tech nerd geeks that love to mess with new technology. It's for everybody. And once again, it's that don't do the lazy AI. Don't say, "Hey, I want to go sell to this hospital. Here's my product. Here's the link to our fact sheet on it, and tell me what to say, or give me a social media post or an email." Clean it up more, train it more, talk to it more so that
Yeah.
it knows how to speak in your voice and do that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that was a great conversation with those realtors on, how to go about doing that. And I love going into these organizations and really giving them that hands-on approach of how to utilize this, how to train it. That it's funny that just kind of goes over people's heads that I'm training something, but except it's no different than training a new employee, right? You got to bring them on. You got to teach them how to use the phone. So how many people, when you've started a job, failed to even teach you a simple thing like, learning the phone system, how to, do I dial 9 to get out or not?
Right.
And we need to take that approach with AI. You need to teach it. Yeah, you do need to dial 9 before you get out to make a call. And, you know, getting that down onto the personal level of yourself. Man, if I had employees, I would be making sure every one of them at least had at least a ChatGPT account, educating them on this is how we use it. This is how you can do better at your emails and make yourself sound more professional. And how this is how you give it your own spin to it. I'm seeing that with my own, and I've been, both of us have been experimenting with different platforms. But just to use ChatGPT as an example, it takes some time. It took me about 6 to 8 months before I saw it really outputting things that I was inputting into it and getting that personal feel from it.
Yeah, and let's back it up a little bit because one of the realtors, she had a great question. It's what is training? And is it one bot? Is it two bots? And it's like, well, it's not quite a bot, and talking about it. So let's simplify that for the folks that are starting on their journey. Training it just means talking to it like a person and saying, this is how I want you to write. If it spits out and it's too friendly or too formal, you can say, hey, this is too formal. I want to sound friendlier, but I still want to be professional. Or hey, I don't use emojis. Please stop using those as much or at all. So there's quite a few different ways to train it. And so in each thread, think of it as a conversation, topic conversation. In each thread, you can talk to it and you can tell it to focus on the information just in the thread or everything that it knows about you.
Yeah, I get basic with it for a little while and it learns that, we've learned that, training some bots, you start line by line, little by little kind of a thing. And then it starts to learn things. But, as it increases that, it's amazing what it picks up on and starts to, have this certain intuition about you of exactly what you need. It's even starting to respond in more optimistic words because it knows that I use that.
Yeah, yeah.
Using words like spicy and things like that. It's been fun to see it starting to develop that. And we talked about this yesterday with the realtors, but I learned this from a guest that we're going to have on a future podcast. But he was talking about take a personality test and input that into it. And even that can help you. I look forward to talking to him more about things like that. But even something like that can help that respond in your style of personality.
Yeah. Because you're doing. I'm gonna mess this up, but like if you're an INTJ or something like that, right? You put that in there, and it will know based on what's out there what that personality type is like, and if it's accurate enough to you, then that's where it can pick up even more of your voice. One of the great things that it can do that I think people are forgetting. We're seeing all these. You're in the Simpson character, you're in the toy, thing, and those are fun. But let's get down to real business stuff. You can do research of, hey, I need accountants within a 50-mile radius of this location that are all making more than 1 million or 2 million per year that specialize in trucking, let's say, right? And so now it will go through and pull that information for you much faster than you putting in this location on Google Maps and then switch to this location and then combing through all that. Um, Let it do stuff like that because you can definitely do that. I was at an event and this gentleman gave a great idea and he said he has his AI search Instagram. And this might be an agent that he's using. I think it is.
You can do this with somewhat with the task function
Yeah. And
and have
so
it go search certain things for you.
So he'll say, like, let's say a hotel or something, right? And he says, do a search for within 25 miles or whatever. I don't remember the radius, but something close enough. And of people who just got engaged on LinkedIn and Facebook. And he sends it out. And then it collects as much information as it can. Then he compares it to their like LinkedIn if he can find that. And then they send out these congratulations on your engagement, come celebrate with a champagne party, right? At the hotel. Well, what does that do? That brings in optimal people that are right now ready to buy, right? And so you might only get 25, but That's better than getting 2,000 potential brides, right? You've got 25 that are locked in and ready, and then you can be the central hub for whatever other needs there are.
Yeah, there's you talk about getting onto the business sense of this. I'm a big proponent of this. The gimmick stuff is fun. The images where, we've been doing full on SWOT analysis for people and teaching them how, any type of market analysis out there. We were speaking to the realtors, how to enhance descriptions of properties, how to stay on top of, the vast changes within that industry that happen daily, and help them monitor those things, be educated more, how to be that drop of water in the ocean and, stand out from the, you know, 800 more realtors that are, within a block radius of me. Seems like everybody, but there's good ones and there's not good ones. I want to deal with the good ones. And I think now those that are utilizing AI are going to be the really good ones. And it will allow even others to step up as well. And this is many professions out there that can do this. And if you're a business owner, you think of the things I was telling you. Yes, we were texting yesterday, and I said, stop even thinking website wise, you know, designing page to page. How is your website interacting with that person through AI?
Right.
And
Yeah.
thinking through things through that mindset now is where we need to be. And those are the people that are going to be, I think, in 6, 8 months, a year, those are going to be the ones that are still in business.
100%, man. And in our mastermind this morning, we were speaking to some folks, and we were talking about, so there's Erin, and she does what I lovingly call the woo-woo stuff, right? The more mystical, the more health and wellness kind of stuff. And I was saying, hey, I'm a trained scientist. That's what my background was. And she, she's more of this ethereal, mystical stuff, which is great. But sometimes you're going to lose people like me because I'm like, okay, cool, magic fairy dust, that's all fantastic. But what's the science behind it? And she says, no, there's real science. I've gone to these conferences. And she's like, but it bores me to write about it. And we told her, you have ChatGPT, you have Grok, you have, we named a bunch of them and said, hey, why don't you ask it, tell it your stuff in the way you present it, and say, how do I present this to somebody with a more scientific background or that needs more scientific data to believe in this or to see the benefits? And it just blew her mind, right? And so that was to me a really cool thing that we're really steeped in this and people aren't thinking of ways it can be used yet, right? And we're
Right.
scratching the surface ourselves.
Right. And we're multiple layers ahead of everyone. And I still feel like we're just scratching the surface. But to that point, people need to lean on those that are, layers of ahead of where you are, especially if you're just stepping foot into this arena, especially if you're a business. We want to work with those people that really need to up their game, who want to up their game in this, and learn how this can definitely enhance your business. You're going to be, cutting costs of business operations utilizing this, and you're going to be able to take those, if you have employees, put them where they belong. So, man, I can't express the urgency enough, and I hate to, be that, chicken little sky is falling, but in some ways it is. It's not all a bad way, but you need to get up to speed here and be prepared for what's coming up, because man, I mean, anytime I'm listening to Sam Altman or any of those guys, seems like something new is just at their fingertips and getting ready to come out.
Yeah. Talking about changes coming quickly, I just opened up my chat and there's now a library thing where it
Right.
keeps going.
Yeah.
Like that just I was using it this morning, it wasn't there. And then this afternoon when I got on right before this call, I popped it open and I'm like, oh, hi, welcome.
It
Uh,
has saved every image that I have created in there. It's kind of fun to see like the progress of things, because some of the things in there I was just like, oh my gosh, this is lame. What was I even thinking? And now I'm like, wow, this is, and I'm not even great at the image prompting thing. of how well just in the last few weeks things have gotten better. People in marketing, wow, they need to, and we're working on some stuff to gear towards people in marketing, because if you're not stepping, I think you're one of the first ones to go if you're not stepping into this arena, because you need to totally revamp how you're doing things. Anybody who's a consultant, they need to start, thinking about AI and learning AI, because I mean, this is gonna there's a lot of things out there. Why do I need a I was talking to a financial advisor. Why am I going to need you? You need to start rethinking your profession, which isn't a bad thing. We've gone through all this before, in society. We've shifted, and yeah, some professions will go away, but it's going to open the door for so many others.
Well, and so it'll actually, for some, it'll actually allow them to expand, right? So think about taxes. It was just tax time, and we saw when like TurboTax and H&R Block and all these guys started offering their taxes where you punch in the information, it gives you the questions. It allowed them to grow. But some of these mom and pop shops that were the old school way and were just, you got to come in, send me all your papers, I'm going to look through every receipt, that kind of stuff. They started hurting.
Yeah.
It allowed other ones to start shining, right? And sometimes you still need to go in and talk to somebody, and that part's nice, but I can do most of the work here so I don't have to sit in a stuffy office and then wait. I can go in just for my appointment, do the right thing, sign on the dotted line, whatever I got to do, and do that. What I'm seeing is that right now so I look at it a little different versus the sky is falling, which a lot of people kind of revert to. But I look at it as this is the time to expand.
Sure.
The race moving forward, and you might get left behind if you keep doing it the way you've always done it,
Yeah.
right? And so it's taking that thought of the ones that pivoted into technology with the tax stuff grew more and grew ahead, right? But if you take really great customer service and then apply that to the knowledge you have and use AI to enhance what you're doing and make it more efficient, quicker, yada yada, I think that's where you start winning more, right? It's really not thinking of it as, oh, it's taking over or it's going to take my job. It's kind of like what we had on the slides. Another realtor's or AI is not going to take your job. It's another realtor using AI that's going to beat you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I look forward to a lot of the things we're going to be doing here in the near future. Some of the guests we've been lining up, CEOs that have embraced this within their companies. You know, we need to just. I'm excited even for the education side of things and talking with educators on how we can implement this. We can't leave. We don't want to leave anybody behind, but you need to have that responsibility to stay on top. So I'm so excited about where we're headed with this. Some of the, great, classes that we have coming up. And this is going to be a thing, I think, that, while there are people out there like us that are out there, raising awareness of how AI is, what it's going to do for us, joining forces with those that, maybe doing similar things and enhancing things together. The rising tide lifts all ships. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Nope, I see it. I'm excited. And if you're listening and you feel like you'd like to learn more, we are happy to sit with you, discuss a little bit more, show you, industry specific things that you can do while still being a novice, right? And if you'd like to farm it out and want somebody to do it, we'd be happy to help you there as well.
Yeah, please reach out to us. Go to promptcommander.ai. It's our website. You can get a hold of us through there. We want to continue to further this discussion, and we're very happy to get out there and talk to groups. And it's we bring it in. I mean, nobody can bring energy like Allan does. So,
Thank
uh,
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that. I love speaking to groups and being able to make a difference and make an impact, right? And no matter what station you are in life, this can really help grow you out of wherever you are. I always tell people I'm a poor kid that got a chance. My chance was websites, right? That's what got me into the business world and grew me into where I am today. and expanding the knowledge and stuff like that. AI is just going to further that for folks. And so if you've got a phone, which,
Who
90
doesn't?
people do, 99, who knows what the numbers are, you can learn that, right? So I always tell people what you're scrolling is your choice. And so if you're scrolling funny videos and, whatever it is that interests you, soccer,
You're always making fun of my cat videos.
I am, I'm not into that one. But no, but seriously, right? Like that, you choose where you put your time. You have the time and you have access to the world's knowledge in the palm of your hand. And you can start with AI for free, right? So I always tell people push that knowledge, and no matter where you are in life, it can help you grow.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, thanks, Allan. This has been a great discussion. If anybody wants to be a guest as well, please reach out to us as well. We want to talk to you. If you're anywhere innovative in AI or anywhere in this AI world, advancing it, we definitely want to talk to you. Even if you're concerned about where AI is headed, let us know. We want to talk to you.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. And as always, what do you say, Tim? Stay human.
Stay human, let AI do all the boring stuff, my friend.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, Allan.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of the Prompt Commander AI podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, shoot us an email at tim@promptcommander.ai. And as always, visit us at promptcommander.ai, where the future isn't coming, it's already here.